So here we are at the end of another calendar year, and another year has gone by in every single one of ours collecting journey. Hopefully 2024 was a great one for your collection. Today, I'm going to recap my top 4 pickups in 2024. But before we get started, my name is Chris, otherwise known on Instagram. X is at CRT_sportscards. So when I look back 1 year ago, this time in 2023, I was celebrating the completion of my T206 Polar Bear set. And also, my right arm was completely blank. So one of my big pickups, which is a permanent pickup, is the completion of my right arm. And so while you will notice some peeling in this video, when you take a look at the photos of the artwork, it came out, again, far better than I ever could have expected it to be. So it was and it is a celebration of the packages that these cards came in, along with a big nod to the Old Mill tobacco brand. As you will see, Tolstoy and Old Mill at the very top. You also are going to see Dolly Stark, which is my favorite Southern League player. And then on the back of my forearm, you have the card back from the Old Mill Southern League set. You're also going to have the elephant from the Hindu package. You've got the wax stamp from the Linux package, as well as you have full package designs of Carolina Brights. On the very back of my bicep, you have the drum, and then on the inner bicep, you have Use It cigarettes. And then, of course, not to be forgotten, we have what I consider one of the best parts of the tattoo. We have American Beauty card back right here. There's nothing that says Americana better than this T206 set, and this set is an American Beauty. So overall, I'm very, very pleased where both arms turned out, whether it be a year ago or 2 years ago pretty soon for the Polar Bear side. And the only question now is, which tattoo will I add in 2025? I do, though, think that this is going to be maybe a off year for the tattoo when you think about maybe adding a couple of more high dollar cards to my overall collection versus some more ink. But we'll see how 2025 goes down for me. But now let's get to the cards and let's take a look at where my Polar Bear set sits 1 year after completion. So when I finished my set a year ago, I weirdly had very even numbers. Yes, in the Polar Bear set there are 250 cards, nothing more even than a nice 0. But I had exactly 200 raw cards and 50 graded cards. So fast forward a complete year, my set right now has 110 graded cards with 140 raw copies. And here, shameless plug for my Instagram account, throughout 2025 are going to be recapping every single Polar Bear card in my set. So go over to at CRT_sportscards and follow me there. But I'm also right now in a really weird spot with my overall set. I have been, and you know me, a massive proponent of using SGC. Of those 110 cards, 81 are in an SGC slab and 29 are in a PSA slab. But something over the past month or so has made me look more and more at PSA. Yes, the set registry is very nice. I have no preconceived notions of ever winning an award for the highest graded Polar Bear set, but something is making me want to convert every single slab of mine over to PSA, or maybe sell my SGC, convert over to PSA. But if you have had this dilemma in the past with your collection, leave a comment below. I want to know if I'm just crazy here or if I should continue down the path with my SGC set. And so I guess it comes as no surprise that 3 of my 4 top pickups in 2024 are in an SGC slab. But I'll tell you, honorable mention here goes to Frank Chance. This is not a new pickup. This is an upgrade, but having now an SGC Frank Chance, which is of course my favorite Polar Bear card, also my very first Polar Bear card, was very nice, but it didn't make the list of top 4 pickups in 2024. Number 4 on my list helped me with the direction of my now mission to complete the entire 520 card set. I would also, if you have not yet, go watch my Elite 11 video that I released in September, because pickup number 4 is this Vive Lindemann Piedmont 350, which is an Elite 11. This SGC1 Lindemann was picked up in a Facebook transaction for just over $300. And one note, when it comes to Elite 11, comps are so hard because these cards are so very rare. But this also helped me figure out how I'm going to complete my 520 card set. As of right now, I want to have, of course, I have the Polar Bears. I want to complete the Sovereign 150 set. I want to complete the Old Mill Southern League set. But having this Piedmont 350 helped me realize the remaining 70 plus cards I would need for my set should be Piedmont 350. So very, very happy to add this Lindemann. I also added a Tom Jones Elite 11 this year. So in my set right now, I do have 2 Elite 11 cards. Now coming in number 3 on my list is a card that I picked up at this year's National in Cleveland, Ohio. And I can tell you as a collector, I cannot wait for the 2025 National coming up in July in Chicago. But this card is a card I never expected to find, and it came about me just going back and back and back to certain tables. But I found the highest graded Russford Polar Bear in existence on SGC. This is an SGC 5, and it never sold publicly. When you go to VCP, there is no sales record for this card. This was again purchased for just over $300. And for some context here on Russford, he is a 460 subject in the Polar Bear set, so he naturally has a lower and smaller population report both on PSA and SGC. But this card was graded in 2009. It of course had been reholdered sometime in the recent past, but when you think about population counts, there were only 16 graded in SGC and only 18 graded in PSA. So it's a harder to come by card automatically, but then for me to find the highest graded copy is basically like finding a needle in the haystack. So very, very happy to add this card to my collection. It's kind of a little shining star with the 81 Polar Bears to say I own the highest graded Russford Polar Bear. Now this next card, card number 2 of 2024, will not top any of the best looking charts, but I will tell you, it has some incredible eye appeal, and it is my lone Hall of Famer in this list of 5 or 4. I guess you would say 5 is Frank Chance, but we're not really considering Frank Chance as part of this list. But here we go. My very first Hall of Famer for my Sovereign 150 back run set. This is Nap Lajoie. And look at that card. When you talk about the centering, you take a look at the back of the card. This is beautiful for, in my opinion, a PSA 2. This is a fine example of what I consider one of the best looking cards in the set with that jacket. It is just, to me, a really, really cool card. I won this on REA when I sold my extra Ray Dimmitt Polar Bear. I paid over $600 for this card. I feel I got a pretty good deal on it. It did probably go a little bit lower because of the grade, but it presents so incredibly well. And by the way, what were your top 4 pickups in 2024? I would love to know in the comments below what you consider your top 4 pickups in 2024. But now let's talk about what I consider my favorite pickup of the year. And this just happened about a week and a half ago. This is a card that I have wanted for several years. I never had a reason to purchase it a couple of years ago when I was building my Polar Bear set. But now that I'm completing and going after the 520 and completing the Old Mill Southern League set, there is no better card in the Old Mill Southern League set than Shag Shaughnessy. Extremely happy to have picked up this card from LOTG just a few weeks ago and knock off this card from that checklist. This is another, in my opinion, great example of a low grade card that again presents very, very well. Yes, there's writing on the back. I do, as a collector, really like writing on the back of a card or a back stamp. It kind of has that unofficial amateur provenance. I'll never be able to track back what the 14 means on the bottom or these lines looking like they're trying to get the pencil to work, but it's cool to think someone back 100 plus years ago was writing on this card. What were they doing What does the 14 represent? Was this their 14th card in their set? If it was, what is number 13 or what is number 15? But for me, as a collector in 2024, moving on to 2025, owning a Shaq Shaughnessy is my highlight of 2024.